In
on
a
the
world
couch,
where emotions
looking at
bleed
her,
from one soul
unsure
into
how to
another,
begin.
how much of your
But he
suffering
didn't
is
wait
truly
too
yours?
long.
Just as a
"Mary,"
candle
he
cannot
said
burn
gently,
without fire,
"I don't
men
want to
cannot
waste
live
time."
without a spiritual
She
life.
turned and looked at him.
Buddha.
"I know
But
we
what
just
happens
met,"
when that
he
life is
continued,
constantly
"but
flooded
I
with
feel
emotions
something
that don't even
strong,
belong to you?
something I've never
Have you
felt
ever entered a
before.
space and felt
Mary
instantly
listened,
overwhelmed,
her eyes fixed
like the
on
weight
him.
of other people's
"I
pain
love
clung
you,"
to your
Bernard
chest?
said clearly.
This isn't just empathy,
"From the very first
it's
time
emotional
I saw
absorption,
you."
and it's
She
silently
blinked
draining
slowly.
your spirit.
"I didn't
In
just
this
admire
video,
you.
we're diving
I
into
didn't just
timeless
enjoy
Buddhist
your
wisdom
company.
to help you
I
stop
loved your
carrying what was
strength,
never
your
yours.
calmness, your
You'll uncover
confidence.
10
And
transformative
given the
lessons
fact
to
that
shield
my
your
father
energy,
loves you
reclaim
too,
your inner
it's a
calm,
big plus
and
for
awaken
me.
a deeper freedom.
He leaned forward,
Stay until the
his
end,
voice sincere.
because Lesson 7
"Mary,
holds a
I
truth
want
that
to
might
marry
just
you
shift
as
your
soon as
emotional world
possible."
forever.
She
We'd
looked
love
at
to
him,
hear your thoughts.
speechless for a moment.
If you're not sure what to
"I'm
say,
not going
just
to
type,
lie,"
"I
she
protect
said
my
softly.
peace."
"I love you
1.
too. From
You
the
were never
first
meant
moment
to
we
hold it
met
all.
near the farm,
Have you
I
ever
felt
wondered why
peace.
you feel tired,
I didn't even
even
know
when
who
nothing
you
visible
were,
seems
but
wrong?
I felt safe
Why
with
the
you."
world feels
He
heavier,
smiled,
even on
heartful.
quiet days?
She smiled
Perhaps
too.
the truth is this:
"If you truly
you were
want
never
to marry
meant to
me,"
hold it all.
she said gently,
The pain, the
"then
fear,
I will
the
say yes."
expectations. They
Bernard
don't all
reached
belong
for
to
her
you.
hand and held
And yet,
it firmly.
like a sponge left too
"Thank
long in
you.
the ocean,
You are
you've
the most
absorbed everything
beautiful
around
and
you.
intelligent
Every complaint,
woman I have
every
ever
emotion,
seen.
every sorrow,
And now
until
you're
you
going
forgot
to
what
be
was
my
yours
wife."
and what was never meant
Mary
to stay.
blushed, but
Peace
her face
begins
turned
where ownership
serious.
ends.
"There's something
That single
I must
line
do
holds a
first,"
wisdom
she
that
said.
many miss in their
"What
race
is
to be
it?"
everything for
"I
everyone.
have to go to the
In
village.
Buddhist teaching,
I must
suffering
tell my
often
parents.
arises not
They
from what
live there.
happens to us,
They must
but from
know."
what we cling to.
Bernard paused.
And one of the subtlest
Her
forms of
words
clinging
echoed
is
in his
emotional
head.
absorption,
"My parents
unknowingly
live
taking
in
on the
the
burdens of
village."
others,
He
the
sat
moods
up
of
straight.
rooms, the pain
"No,"
of
he
strangers,
said.
until you are
"That
drowning in a
cannot
sea that was
continue."
never meant for you
She
to cross.
looked confused.
The Buddha once
"What
said,
do you mean?
just as a snake
My
sheds its skin,
parents-in-law
we
cannot
must
live
shed
in the
what
village
no longer serves
while I
us.
live in a mansion."
Emotional
Bernard
freedom
said
begins when
firmly.
you stop
Her eyes
identifying with
widened.
everything you feel,
"I have many
because not
houses
everything
here
you
in
feel
the
is
city.
yours.
I will
Some
give
of it
them
is
one.
inherited,
I want
passed
them to
down like
stop
worn-out
farming
clothes
and
from
leave the
parents,
village. They've
teachers,
suffered
or
enough.
society.
I want
Some
them
of it is
to
borrowed
enjoy
from
peace
people
now.
whose suffering you tried
Mary
to solve
stared at
by
him,
carrying it in
mouth
silence.
open, hands
Think
frozen.
back. Who taught you to carry
would
others'
do that
pain?
for them?
Whose storm
Mary,
did you try to
he
calm
said,
by holding
I'm
the
not
lightning
marrying
inside your
only
own
you.
chest?
I'm marrying
Modern
into your
life
family,
doesn't pause for
and
reflection.
I must honor them
It
like
tells
I
you to push
honor my own
through,
father.
to fix, to be
Tears
strong.
welled in
But
Mary's
inner
eyes.
strength isn't about
No
carrying
one-
more. It's
no
about
one has
knowing
ever
when to
said
put it
something
down.
like that to
Buddhist
me before,
mindfulness
she
teaches us
said.
this.
He
Not
gently
everything that
wiped her
enters your
tears.
mind must stay.
You're worth it,
You are
he
not a
said.
container.
And I
You are a
want you to
flowing
know,
stream.
from today,
Let what is
your
not yours
struggle
move
is my
past
struggle.
you. Try
Your
this.
joy is my
Place
joy.
your hand gently on your
News
heart
spread
and whisper,
quickly in the
I
city.
return what is not
Bernard,
mine.
the quiet
Let
billionaire,
those words
was getting
soften the
married.
grip.
But
Let
not
them
to
be
a
your
rich
quiet
girl,
rebellion
not
against
to a
years of
celebrity.
silent suffering.
He was marrying
So,
a simple,
what emotional weight are you
respectful
holding
lady
that doesn't
named
belong
Mary.
to you?
People
What
were
would
shocked.
happen if you
Some
finally let it
smiled
go?
and praised his
There's a
choice.
power in no longer
Others
being
were
the
jealous.
sponge, in
But
becoming
no
the
one
mountain
was more
instead,
angry than
untouched by
Vanessa.
passing storms,
She heard the news
still in
from
presence,
one of her friends
firm in
at a
essence.
spa.
Pain
What did you
only
just
enters
say?
where the gate is open.
Vanessa asked
Close
sharply.
the gate, and
Yes,
what once
now,
broke you will
the friend
pass
said.
through like wind through
Bernard
the trees.
is getting married
You
to
were
that
never
girl.
meant to hold it
I
all.
even heard
You were
she's
meant to
from
know
the
what's
village.
yours and live light,
Vanessa's
free,
face twisted,
and whole in
her
that
jaw
knowing.
tightened.
Let this be
Her
your
hands
turning
began
point.
to shake.
Release
He
the
can't
weight.
do this to me.
Reclaim your peace.
She stormed out
2.
of the spa
Pain
and
is
entered
energy,
her car,
not
fuming
identity.
with anger.
Have you ever
That
noticed
night,
how
she
quickly a
called
passing
someone,
emotion
a
can become
rough-looking
your
man
identity?
named Sko,
1 minute
known
you're
for
feeling
doing
pain.
dirty jobs.
The next,
I
you're
want
calling
you to do
yourself
something
broken.
for me.
But
she
here's the
said
quiet
coldly.
truth Buddhist
What
wisdom
is it?
whispers.
Sko
Pain is
asked.
energy,
I
not
want
identity.
you to plant hard
Just
drugs
because you
inside
feel it
Bernard's
doesn't mean you
office.
are it.
Once it's there,
Pain is a
we'll
cloud,
alert the police.
not the sky.
He'll be
It
arrested,
visits,
disgraced,
but it is not the
and
home.
jailed.
Yet,
The wedding
somewhere
will
along the
scatter.
way, we begin
Sko
to
was
fuse our
silent.
suffering with who
Vanessa
we are.
continued.
We say things
Also,
like,
if
I
you
am
can
anxious,
finish the job,
or I am worthless.
make sure that girl Mary
These
never
aren't
wakes
passing
up.
clouds anymore.
And that ugly
They become
old
the
man
names
she
we write
calls
on our inner
father-in-law.
walls.
I want him
But
gone
suffering
forever.
grows when
I
mistaken
don't
for
want
self.
to ever see his
That's the
useless
trap,
face again.
mistaking the mist for the
Sko
mountain,
said nothing.
forgetting that
She
underneath
ended
all
the
the fog,
call, thinking
your
it
mountain
was
still
done.
stands,
But what
solid,
Vanessa
untouched.
didn't know was this.
Buddhist philosophy
Sko knew
teaches
Bernard.
detachment not as
Bernard
indifference,
was the same man
but as
who
clarity.
helped Sko's elder
You can
sister
feel
years
without
ago.
becoming.
Bernard
You can
gave
witness
her
your
a
own
job in
sadness
his
like
company
watching
when
wind
no
dance
one
through the
believed in
trees,
her.
acknowledging
When
its
their mother was
movement
dying,
without trying to
Bernard
cage it.
paid all
The
the
moment you
hospital
stop
bills.
grasping, the
He
energy
even helped
begins to
Sko's
move.
family pay
You
their
become the
rent
sky
after they
again,
were thrown out.
spacious,
Sko
still,
sat alone
free.
that night.
So let me
thinking,
ask you,
"This
have
is
you
the man
fused
you
pain
want
with
me
who
to
you are?
destroy?"
Have
he
you
said to
unknowingly
himself.
carried it so
The
long
man
that you've
who
forgotten
saved
how to
my
separate
family?
it from your name,
Never.
your purpose,
He
your
picked
worth?
up his phone.
The mind is
He
quick to
called
attach
Vanessa
meaning
again,
to pain,
this time
but pain
putting the
is simply
phone on
energy.
record.
A signal,
"Hello," she
not a
answered.
sentence.
"Tell me the
A
plan
wave.
again."
not your
I
reflection.
need all the details,
A teacher,
said.
not your truth.
Vanessa laughed
to hold it
wickedly
as
and
identity
repeated
is to build
everything.
your home in a
She talked
thunderstorm.
without holding
It
back,
will shake,
mentioning
it will drown,
how the drugs
it will
should
never
be planted,
feel safe.
and how she
Instead,
wanted Bernard's
pause,
father and Mary
breathe.
Una lived before the
Imagine
wedding.
your pain as
Sko
passing
ended
wind.
the call.
Do you
He
chase
saved
the breeze
recording.
or define
The
yourself
next
by the
morning,
cold it brings?
he walked straight
Number,
into
you
Bernard's
feel it,
office.
and you let it go.
Bernard was
This is
busy
the
with
practice,
wedding arrangements
gentle yet
and office
life-changing.
matters.
Ask
Sir,
yourself,
I need just
what
10
would
minutes,
remain if you let
Sko
it
said.
pass?
Bernard
If all
looked
your
up.
hurt was just
Do I
energy
know you?
moving, dissolving,
You helped my
what would be
family
left
many
behind?
years ago.
The answer
I've
is
come
your
to
true
return
self,
the favor.
quiet,
Bernard
steady,
looked
rooted in
confused,
awareness.
but nodded.
This is not
Go
about
on.
ignoring your
Sko
feelings.
explained
It's
everything.
about honoring them
He
without
played
becoming
the voice
them.
recording on
That's
speaker.
inner freedom.
As Bernard
That's the
listened,
space where
his
healing
face
grows.
changed.
You are
His
not
heart
your
beat
wounds.
fast.
You are the one
His
who
mouth
feels them
remained
and
open
lets them move
as he
through.
heard Vanessa's
The
voice
one who
clearly
breathes,
plotting his
not the
downfall
breeze.
and wishing
The
death
one who
on Mary
watches,
and his
not
father.
the wave.
When it
When you
ended,
stop
Bernard
confusing
leaned
pain
back
with your
and
reflection,
covered his face.
clarity returns like sunlight
she really
breaking
wanted
through the
to
fog.
destroy us.
So the next time
Sko
pain
nodded.
visits, don't
I
ask,
couldn't let
why
it
me?
happen. You don't
Ask,
deserve it.
what if this isn't me at all?
Thank you, Bernard said,
Let it
shaking
pass.
his hand.
Let you
You
remain.
saved us.
3.
Hours later,
Silence
the police
is your
moved
shield.
in. Vanessa was arrested at a luxury restaurant where she was showing off new clothes. What is the meaning of this? She shouted. You're under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy, and drug framing, one officer said. She screamed and cried, but they took her away. In court, Vanessa wore a long black dress and tried to act innocent. I don't know what they're talking about, she said. I never said anything like that. The judge looked at her silently. Then he nodded to the officer. The officer pressed play. Vanessa's voice filled the courtroom. She spoke clearly, without shame, repeating all her evil plans. She laughed in the recording. She insulted Papa Thomas, calling him ugly and poor. She called Mary names and even said, I want her gone forever. When the recording ended, the courtroom went silent. Everyone turned to look at her. Vanessa's mouth dropped open. She started crying instantly. I didn't mean it. I was angry. I was drunk. It's the devil. The judge raised a hand. Enough. The devil did not force you to speak. You planned evil, and you would have succeeded if not for one honest man. She sobbed, Please, I'm sorry. The judge looked at her without pity. For jealousy, for pride, for wickedness, you shall face the law. Vanessa was sentenced to 15 years in prison with no option for bail. Back at the mansion, Bernard told Mary everything. She was shocked but thankful. That could have been the end of us, she whispered. Bernard hugged her. But it's not, because good people still exist. People like Sko. People like you. That weekend, they both traveled to Mary's village. When they arrived, Bernard knelt in front of her parents. I want to marry your daughter. And from today, I want you to leave the village. Come live in the city. I have a house ready for you. You've worked too hard. It's time for you to rest. Mary's mother cried. Her father blessed Bernard with joy. 1 month later, Bernard and Mary were married in a beautiful, joyful ceremony. After the wedding, Bernard and Mary flew out quietly for their honeymoon. They walked hand in hand on the beach, laughing barefoot in the sand. I still can't believe this is real, Mary said softly. Bernard
Sometimes the
smiled.
most powerful
All
thing
right,
you can
real.
do is
Let's
say
start
nothing
with
at all.
forever.
Not
And
out
just
of
like
fear,
that,
not
what
out of
lessons
weakness,
did you take
but from a
away
place
from
of
this
deep
dramatic
grounded
tale?
presence.
One small
We'd
farm.
love to hear
Silence
your
is
thoughts.
your
Late
shield.
comments below.
In a noisy
Papa
world
Thomas,
that
you
rewards
enjoyed
reaction
story at
and
his
glorifies
spot
constant
near the
expression,
share it with friends,
silence can feel
and his
like
eyes
surrender.
were soft,
But Buddhist
and his
wisdom
don't forget
reminds
to
us,
turn on
in
notifications.
stillness,
He wasn't thinking
nothing
about
enters
money
without
out on our
permission.
latest update. He was
In
thinking about
silence,
for watching,
you become
her
the
kindness,
gatekeeper.
her courage,
You choose
her
what
words.
enters.
Suddenly,
You choose what
a
stays.
cheerful voice pulled
Like a
him out of
mountain
his thoughts.
untouched by storms.
Papa.
True
He looked
silence
up.
isn't empty.
It was Mary,
It's full of
smiling
clarity.
and walking
When
toward
emotions
him with
rise,
a small basket
anger,
in her
sadness,
hand.
betrayal,
She reached
our first
him and
instinct
sat
is often
down
to
gently
speak,
beside
to
him.
explain, to justify.
I brought you something.
But words born
What
from
is it?
emotional
He
reaction
asked
rarely
warmly.
protect us.
Just
They
some
usually
fresh
entangle us
vegetables and
deeper.
boiled groundnuts,
In contrast,
she said.
silence
It's
holds
not
space.
much.
It allows
Papa
the storm
Thomas
to
opened the
pass without
basket
letting
and
it
smiled.
inside.
It's
It gives you the
everything.
pause between
Thank
trigger
you,
and
my
response,
daughter.
the
May
moment where
God
healing
bless your
begins.
hands.
Many
Mary
carry
laughed.
emotional pain because
Amen,
they've never learned
Papa.
how to pause,
They sat
how to sit
quietly
with
for a
discomfort
moment,
instead of
then
projecting
she
it,
leaned closer.
how to hold their inner
Papa,
space like
I have
sacred
good
ground.
news.
But
His eyes
silence,
brightened.
silence
Tell
teaches
me.
you.
I
Sit
found
for a
land.
minute, eyes
You
closed.
did? He asked,
Listen only
surprised.
to your breath.
Yes.
Let
It belongs
everything
to
else
my
fall
uncle.
away.
I told
In that
him
stillness,
what I wanted to do.
you'll find something
and
most
he said
people
I
spend
can
their
use
lives
part
searching
of it for
for.
farming.
Sovereignty
It's
over
a
your
small
inner world.
space, but
Ask
it's
yourself
enough to start
honestly,
with okra
do you speak
and
to defend
vegetables.
or to disconnect from
this
pain?
is good.
How often do you
So,
use
when are
words
we
to
going?
escape rather
Mary
than to
smiled
express?
wide.
Words can
Tomorrow
be
morning,
powerful
if
tools
you
for
are
healing,
ready.
but without
Papa
awareness,
Thomas paused,
they can become
then
weapons
gently shook
against
his
others
head.
or yourself.
No,
There's
he
a
said
moment in
calmly.
every storm
We
where the
can't
thunder
go
quiets,
to the farm
and all
tomorrow.
you hear is the
Mary
air.
looked confused.
That's what silence
Why
gives
not,
you,
Papa?
a return to clarity.
Because, he
when was
said,
the last time
you are
silence
coming to
healed
my
you?
house tomorrow.
Not just the
She
absence of
blinked.
noise,
Your
but
house?
the deep intentional
But you
quiet
said
where
you
insight
sleep in a
arises
shop.
and old pain
He
loses its
smiled.
grip.
Just
Silence doesn't mean
I will
inaction.
explain
It means
everything to
choosing
you.
not to be reactive.
She raised an eyebrow.
It's a powerful act
Papa,
of self-protection,
are you hiding something?
not isolation.
I'm hiding
It
peace,
creates
he
space
joked.
between you and the
You will
energy of others,
understand
so
tomorrow.
you stop absorbing
She
what doesn't
laughed.
serve you.
So,
The next
when
time
are we
you're
going
overwhelmed,
to the farm?
don't rush to
Let's
speak.
go by the weekend.
Don't rush
he
to
said.
explain.
She nodded.
Instead,
Okay.
become the mountain.
But Papa, you're
Let the winds
full of
howl,
surprises.
the rain fall, but
He
remain
reached
grounded
into
in
his pocket
stillness.
and gave her
And
a
in that
small
pause,
paper.
you'll notice
That's the
something
address.
shift.
Don't
The
be
world
late.
may not change,
Mary took
but your
the paper,
experience of it
looked
will.
at it, and
The
shook her
most
head.
sacred battles
Now
are not
I'm
won
really
by noise,
curious.
but by knowing
She
when
paused,
to remain
then
still.
added shyly,
In silence,
Papa,
you
I
find
also
your
met
boundary.
someone today.
In stillness,
Papa Thomas
you reclaim
leaned
your
forward.
power.
Who?
Let this be your quiet
She looked
revolution.
down and smiled.
Let silence
Just
be your
someone.
shield.
A man.
4.
He's very
Empathy
handsome.
is a gift,
I like him.
not a cage.
I mean,
You've
he's
always
kind,
felt things
very
deeply.
humble.
You notice the
old
pain
man's
in
eyes
someone's
widened.
eyes before they
Who
speak.
could that be?
You sense
I
the
want to
tension
see
in a
him,
room
my
before a
daughter.
word is said.
Mary laughed.
And maybe somewhere
No,
along the
Papa,
way,
it's
that
not
gift
like
of empathy
that.
became
We're
something
just
heavier,
friends for now.
something you didn't know how to
Still,
turn off.
Papa Thomas
But empathy
said,
was never
I'm
meant
your
to be a
second
burden.
father now.
It is a gift,
I must see him
not a
with
cage.
my own eyes.
And Buddhist wisdom
She shook
gently
her head
reminds us,
playfully.
compassion
Papa,
frees,
calm down.
attachment drains.
He grinned.
There's
So,
a sacred
are we
difference
going to
between
see each
carrying
other
someone's
tomorrow?
pain and sitting
She
beside them
hesitated.
in theirs.
Yes, Papa.
Imagine a candle
See you
lighting
tomorrow.
another. The flame
See you,
spreads,
my daughter.
but the original
As she
candle
walked
does
away,
not grow dim.
Papa Thomas
True
whispered
compassion
to
is like
himself,
that,
"Let
offering
tomorrow
warmth,
begin the
presence,
truth."
understanding,
Later that
without
evening,
losing
Papa
your own
Thomas
center.
returned to
But
the
too
house.
often,
The
we
big
confuse
mansion was
empathy
quiet.
with absorption.
He walked into
We
the
take in
living
the pain
room
of
and
others
saw
as if it's our
Bernard sitting there.
responsibility to heal them,
Papa,
fix
Bernard
them,
called.
save them.
Can I tell
And
you
slowly,
something?
the light
Yes,
we once
my
gave
son.
so freely
I
begins
met
to flicker.
someone today.
Ask yourself
Papa
now,
Thomas sat
where has
down,
empathy turned
smiling
into
inside
emotional
already.
entrapment?
You did.
When did helping start
Yes.
to hurt?
A woman not
When did
like
your
the
open
others.
heart become a
She's
doorway for
beautiful
everyone
but
else's
simple.
chaos?
Intelligent
Buddhism
but
teaches
calm.
that compassion is
Hardworking.
wise love.
She was farming
It feels
under the
deeply
sun.
but sees
Papa
clearly.
Thomas leaned
It doesn't
forward.
entangle.
What's her name?
It doesn't assume responsibility for what
The old
others
man
must carry
closed his
on their
eyes
own path.
briefly and smiled.
Attachment, on
She's
the other
the first
hand,
woman that
blurs
has
that
ever
clarity.
made me want to sit
It makes
and
us think
listen
we must
without
suffer
rushing,
with someone in
Bernard
order to support
added.
them.
Papa
But
Thomas
suffering
spoke
doesn't serve
slowly.
healing.
I would
Presence
like
does.
to meet her.
The next time you feel
will.
overwhelmed by
Bernard
someone else's
replied.
emotions,
Very
try this
soon.
simple practice.
The old man
Breathe
leaned
in,
back
say
and smiled
silently,
again.
compassion.
Tomorrow, he
Breathe
whispered
out,
in his heart,
not attachment.
you'll meet her in the most
This
unexpected
mantra is a boundary,
way.
a reminder
next
that
morning,
love doesn't mean
Mary
sacrifice
stood
of self,
in front of a large
but you can
black
care
gate,
without carrying.
holding her simple
Ask yourself
handbag
again,
and the
can you
address
care
Papa
without
Thomas
carrying?
had given her.
Can you listen
She looked
without
up
absorbing?
and down, double-checked
Can you
the
love
number,
without
then
losing
looked
yourself?
again.
Your
This place
sensitivity
too
is not a
fine,
weakness,
she whispered.
it's a strength.
Is this really
But
where
like any
Papa
strength,
Thomas lives?
it needs
A
direction.
security man
When guided
stepped
by
out of the
awareness,
small gate
your empathy
beside the
becomes a
main
light in the dark.
Yes?
When
Can I
fueled by
help you?
attachment,
Mary
it becomes a
nodded.
fire that
I'm
consumes
here
you.
to see Papa
So
Thomas.
let today be a turning
He gave
point.
me this address
Choose
yesterday.
presence over pressure,
The man
love
looked her
over
over,
obligation,
then said,
boundaries
"Wait
over
here."
burnout.
He walked
You
back
can be
inside.
kind without bleeding.
Mary clutched her
You can
bag
give
tighter,
without emptying.
her heart beating faster.
Like the candle, your light is
Something's
not
not
lost
right.
when shared.
She had
It
come
is
expecting
amplified
to
if it
see
comes
a
from a
small
place
home
of grounded
or maybe
self-awareness.
a family friend of
Let
Papa
compassion
Thomas.
flow,
But this
let it
mansion
flow
was
through
nothing
you,
like
not
that.
into you.
It had tall
This is the
white
path
walls,
of inner freedom.
big flowers in
This
front,
is the
and a
power of
smooth
mindful
driveway.
empathy.
The air
Keep your
even
flame
smelled
alive.
different.
Let
Before
it
she
shine
could
not as a
overthink
burden,
it, the
but
gate
as your
opened.
gift.
Come
5.
in, the security man
Let go
said.
of the fire,
Mary
not the
walked in
flame.
slowly,
There's a
her
fire that
sandals
warms
tapping
and a
gently
fire
on
that
the smooth
burns.
tiled floor
You may have
outside.
carried both.
She stopped
The fire
near
of
the
your
wide
passion, your
entrance,
drive, your
stunned
deep
by the
longing to
beauty
feel
around
and
her.
live fully.
The house
That's the
looked
flame.
like something from
But
a
the
magazine.
fire of resentment,
Clean walls,
overreaction,
glass
and
windows,
suppressed wounds,
flower pots,
that's the burn.
and a calm silence.
And in trying to hold both,
Then she heard
you've
footsteps.
scorched yourself.
Mary,
Buddhist
She
wisdom
turned
teaches,
slowly and
the
froze.
flame warms,
It was
but fire
Bernard,
consumes.
the same man she met near
So
the
the path
farm,
to emotional
the same
freedom
man
isn't
who
about
helped her with
extinguishing
the
your
seeds,
spirit.
the one
It's
she
about
laughed
learning
with,
to let
the
go
one
of the
she
fire,
liked.
not the flame.
He stood
We
there,
often confuse
dressed simply,
intensity
but
with
still
purpose.
looking like the man
We
she
think the
couldn't
anger we
stop
carry
thinking
gives
about.
us strength,
Their
the
eyes
grief
locked.
identity,
Bernard,
the urgency
she
meaning.
whispered.
But when emotional
He stepped
pain is
forward,
mistaken for
eyes
passion,
wide with
we end up
disbelief.
feeding flames that
Mary,
only exhaust us.
She looked around again.
Ask yourself gently,
You live here.
what emotional
Before
fire
he
do you
could
keep
reply,
feeding?
another
What
voice
story do you
came from
replay in
behind
your
him.
mind that
My
reignites
daughter.
pain over and over
She
again?
looked past Bernard
There's an old
and saw
Buddhist
Papa
parable
Thomas
about a man
walking out
holding
of
a
the
burning
living room,
coal, waiting to
smiling
throw
from
it
ear
at his
to
enemy.
ear.
But as
Mary
long as he
gasped.
holds it,
Papa,
he is the one getting
she
burned.
took 2 steps
That's
back.
what happens when
Wait,
we cling
you
to
live here?
unprocessed emotion.
Papa Thomas
We
chuckled
grip what
and
hurts,
walked toward her.
believing it fuels
Yes,
us,
this is
unaware
my
it's
house.
slowly consuming
But
our
you told
peace.
me you sleep in
Yet,
a shop.
the flame is still sacred.
He nodded calmly.
The flame is your
because
spirit,
I wanted
your
to see
compassion,
how people
your
treated
clarity,
me when they
your
thought
courage.
I had nothing.
It's what remains
Mary's
when
eyes
anger
moved
subsides.
from Papa Thomas
It's
to
what
Bernard,
rises when
then
pain
back
is
again.
released.
Wait.
You don't have to dim
She
yourself
turned to Bernard,
heal.
pointing.
You only have to learn the
You're his
difference
son.
between what's lighting your
Bernard
way and
smiled
what's setting
slowly.
everything inside you on
Yes,
fire.
I am.
Breathe
Mary
deeply.
covered her mouth in
Feel
shock.
the center of your
I
chest.
don't understand.
Place
she
your
said.
attention there.
Everything.
Ask,
it doesn't
is this
make
fire
sense.
serving me?
Papa Thomas
Not
walked
all
closer.
intensity is
My
truth.
daughter, I'm
Not
sorry
all
for
passion
hiding
is
the
purpose.
truth. But you've
Some are
shown
old
me your
wounds
real
masquerading as
You
strength.
helped me when you thought
Now
I
ask,
was a poor,
what would life
homeless
feel
old
like
man.
without that fire?
That's something
Without
rare
that
in this
bitterness,
world.
that emotional
Mary's
charge
eyes
you
watered.
thought you needed?
You were
What would it
testing
feel
me?
like to be energized
No,
by peace,
he said softly.
not driven by pain?
I was watching.
You are allowed
Life
to be
has
radiant
taught me
without
to
being
observe.
reactive,
Many
to be
people
powerful
pass
without
the
being
rich
volatile,
and kneel for
to
them,
burn brightly,
but they spit
not
on
burn
the
out.
poor.
Letting
You
go
did
of
the
emotional
opposite.
fire doesn't
You gave
mean
me
you lose
food.
your passion.
You offered
It means
to
you
farm
protect
with
it.
me.
You
You
channel
made me
it.
feel seen.
You honor it
She
by no
looked at
longer letting
Bernard.
it be hijacked
And
by
you.
the past.
Bernard
In the
stepped
calm,
closer.
your true flame
I
can
didn't
rise.
know either.
Not chaotic,
I met you by
but steady.
chance. I
True
never
strength is
imagined
not
you'd
in
be
the
the
fire
same
that
person
destroys,
my father
but in
kept
the
talking about. She shook her head slowly, blinking back tears. This is too much. Papa Thomas smiled. But it's good, because now no one can say you were chasing money. You didn't know anything. You just followed your heart. Mary looked down. I didn't do anything special. You did, Bernard said gently. You were kind to a man you thought had nothing. That's rare and powerful. Silence fell between them for a moment. Then Papa Thomas broke it. Mary, come inside. You're home now. She looked up again, still emotional, still overwhelmed. Are you sure? She asked softly. Bernard extended his hand. Yes, please. She took his hand, and together they walked into the house, not as strangers, but as something more, something real. The house was quiet now. Papa Thomas had gone inside to rest, leaving Bernard and Mary alone in the large, beautiful living room. Bernard sat beside Mary.
Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all.
Forever.
Carry
Not
the
out
fear,
of viewers.
not
What
how you
lessons
weak the burn,
did you take
but from
away
this is
from
how
this
you stop
dramatic
absorbing
presence?
pain and
We'd
start
love to
silent
hear
your
your
core.
thoughts in the
Shield. Keep
comments
the flame
below.
in a noisy world.
If
The
you
let
enjoyed
the
the
fire
story,
go
give
and
us a
glorify
thumbs up,
constant
share
expression.
it with
Don't
friends,
silence can
and
feel
hit
like
that
surrender. There's a
subscribe
quiet
button.
Buddhist wisdom
Don't forget
reminding
to
someone's
turn on
pain, still
notifications
deciding
so
what
you
nothing
never
enters
miss
without
out on our
most
latest
people don't
update.
even know. In
Thanks
silence,
for watching.
they
You
reflect
become
the whatever
gatekeeper.
they're given. You
Anger
choose
for
what
anger,
enters, sorrow for sorrow,
you choose what
anxiety
stays.
for anxiety. Like a mountain, but Buddhist wisdom offers a gentler way. True silence isn't empty. It's full of clarity. Difference. When emotions
Witnessing
rise,
creates
anger,
space.
sadness,
Mirroring
betrayal,
multiplies
our first
pain.
instinct is often
When you
to
reflect
speak someone's
to
suffering
explain, to
unconsciously. You
But
become
words
part
born
of it.
from emotional
But when you
reaction
witness
rarely
it with
protect
presence,
us.
you
They
create a
usually
field of
entangle
peace
us
that can
deeper.
hold both of you.
In contrast,
you don't have to
silence
become what you
holds
observe.
space.
It
Just
allows
because
the
someone
storm
is
to
in
pass
chaos
without
doesn't
letting
mean
it
you need
inside.
to echo their storm.
It gives you the pause
Think of
between
the
trigger
moon.
and response.
It reflects the
sun's
moment where
light,
healing begins,
but it does not burn.
Many carry
It
emotional
watches
pain
the tides
because they've never
but
learned
it
how
has
to
never
pause,
pulled under.
how to sit with
The
discomfort
moon is present
instead of projecting
but never
it,
consumed.
how to hold their inner
You
space
too
like
can be
sacred
like that.
ground.
Present
But
still,
silence,
watching without
silence
absorbing.
teaches you.
Ask yourself,
Sit for a minute.
how often
Eyes
do you
closed.
mirror others' emotions?
Listen only to your
How many
breath.
times have you walked
Let
away
everything
from a
else
conversation
fall away.
carrying the weight of
In that
emotions
stillness,
that weren't even
you'll
yours?
find something most people
Most of
spend
us
their
were
lives
never taught emotional boundaries, sovereignty over your inner world. We think being kind means feeling everything others feel. Do you speak to defend empathy or to disconnect from pain? Turns into entanglement. How often do you use words to escape not compassion rather than to express? Costing you your peace. Words can be powerful tools for mindfulness, but without awareness, conscious observation, they can become weapons not against to judge others or yourself, not to react. There's a moment in every storm where the thunder witnessing is powerful, and all you hear is the air. It's what stops pain. That's what silence gives you. Try this. A return to clarity. The next time you're in a difficult interaction, when was the last time silence healed you? And silently not just the absence of noise. This is not but mine. The deep intentional quiet. Not out of insight arises and old pain loses its grip. You are recognizing silence that their emotion is theirs to feel. It means choosing not to be reactive. Can you stay present without self-protection? Can you love someone without becoming their wound? It creates space between you and the energy of others. To sit with someone in pain and hold your peace like an anchor. The next time you're overwhelmed, don't rush to speak. That kind of presence heals more than fixing ever could. Become the mountain. There's a subtle transformation that happens when you stop reacting and start remain grounded in stillness. You feel lighter, and in that pause, you begin to notice something shift, not repeat. The world may not change. You become a space of peace in a world full of emotional mirrors. The most sacred battles are not won by not in matching energy, but by knowing but in mastering your own. In silence, and that begins when you find your own pain and start witnessing it. You reclaim your power. To reflect someone's storm. Let this be your quiet revolution. Your calm presence is enough. Be your shield. So stay soft, but empathy not sponge-like. Is a gift. Not be aware, but not absorbent. You've always felt things deeply. Let the world be what it is. You notice the pain you remain in someone's eyes in what you are. They speak. Not a mirror. You sense the tension in a room before a word not a reflection of pain. And maybe somewhere along the way, that gift of empathy became something heavier. You can feel without something you didn't know how to turn off. You've been told that feeling deeply was never meant to be a burden. That your sensitivity is beautiful but dangerous. And the Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us. But what if that's only half the story? Attachment drains. Buddhist wisdom offers a quiet, sacred difference between carrying someone's pain and sitting beside them emotion like walking through rain. Imagine a candle lighting every drop, but not drowning in the storms. But the original candle does not grow dim. And yet, true compassion how many times have you believed that to be compassionate, presence, to be fully understanding, you had to losing your own center? There's a difference between feeling and falling empathy with absorption. Between honoring your emotions we take in the pain of others as if it's our responsibility. We believe intensity is the proof of sincerity. Save them. That unless we cry with the grieving, the light we once gave so freely or collapse under stress. Ask yourself now, where has empathy turned into emotional entrapment? Presence is not measured by reaction to hurt, but by stillness. When did your open heart become a doorway for everyone else's chaos? What emotion have you fallen into lately? Buddhism teaches that compassion is wise love, but merged with so deeply that it became your identity. Clearly. Was it fear, doesn't guilt, entangle, a sense of failure? It doesn't assume responsibility for what others must carry on their own path. Because you thought attachment meant you were strong. On the other hand, but the truth is that clarity. Real strength is found in awareness. It makes us think we must suffer with someone to feel in order to remain whole. But suffering doesn't serve healing. Visualize a gentle stream. The next time you feel overwhelmed by someone else's emotions, you are not the water. Try the simple practice. You are the observer on the shore. Say silently. You watch it with care. You honor its presence. Breathe out. But you don't need to jump in and be swept away. This mantra is about mindfulness, a reminder that love doesn't mean sacrifice of self, not fusing. You can care without caring. What would it look like to simply watch it flow? Can you care without sadness, without letting it define without absorbing? To feel anger without letting it shape your decisions? Your sensitivity. Imagine how different your life would be if every emotion had space to breathe. But like any strength, none had the power to rule direction. You don't have to close your heart to protect it. Your empathy becomes a light to open it wisely. When feeling deeply is a gift, it becomes a fire. Every feeling is a habit. So let today be a turning point. The goal isn't numbness. Choose presence over pressure. Spaciousness. Love over obligation. It's the strength to hold boundaries over burnout. No matter how much the world around you can be kind without bleeding. The ocean doesn't fear the storm because it remembers its depth. Like the candle, your light is not lost when shared. Let yourself feel. It is amplified if it comes from a place of grounded self-awareness. But know they will pass. Let compassion flow. Be open, but let it flow through you, not overwhelm, not into you. You are allowed to witness emotion without being consumed by it. This is the power of mindful empathy and still remain keep your flame alive. That is not let coldness. It shine not as a burden, that is emotional wisdom, but as your gift. And it is your path to inner freedom. Let go of the fire, not the flame. Protect your peace. There's like a fire that warms and your fire that burns. Sacred. You may somewhere along the way. You may have the fire of your passion, your drive. You opened your doors deep wide, longing to feel letting and everyone and everything walk into your inner world. But the fire of resentment, without overreaction, without permission, and suppressed wounds, pain, that's chaos, negativity. And in trying to hold they entered both, like guests who overstay their welcome. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, the flame warms, not all visitors are welcome in sacred places. So the path to emotional freedom isn't about extinguishing your spirit. It's time to learning to let go like a temple, not the flame. Imagine your inner world as a quiet shrine, intensity, still serene. We think the anger we carry gives us strength. Now ask yourself, grief identity, who have you let urgency meaning? Who drains when emotional pain is mistaken for passion? Is it someone who constantly brings their storms to your doorstep? Ask yourself your own gently, thoughts. What emotional fire do you keep feeding? Is it the pressure to please? What story do you replay in your mind to carry everyone else's emotions over and over again? There's an old Buddhist parable about a man holding a burning coal. You can still waiting to throw it without being available to everything. But as long as he holds it, you can still love. He is the one getting burned. Buddhist practice teaches us the power of right-processed emotion, not as walls of coldness, what hurts, but as believing it fuels us. A mindful boundary is not about shutting people out. Yet, it's about choosing what you allow in. Ask yourself, is your spirit. Why haven't you closed the door? Your clarity. What your fear makes you believe that your peace is less important than someone else's approval. It's what rises when pain is released. Picture an imaginary gate at your heart. You only have to learn the difference standing calmly what's lighting your way and like setting everything inside you on fire. Who do you allow through? Breathe deeply. What words are allowed to echo in your mind? Place your attention there. Deserves space in your sacred room. Is this fire serving me? This is not control. Not all intensity is truth. And awareness is not protection. All passion is purpose. In a world that asks some for your attention constantly, masquerading guarding your peace is not selfish. Now ask, it's survival. What would life feel like without that fire? The more you protect your energy, the more you have to give genuinely, freely, without what would it feel like to be energized? A calm heart is not found, not driven by pain. You are allowed to be radiant without being reactive, without permission, to be powerful without being volatile, keep invading your stillness, not burn out. And what? Letting go of emotional fire doesn't mean you lose your passion. It means you protect it. You channel it. You honor it by no longer letting it be hijacked by the past. In the calm, your true flame can rise, not chaotic, but steady. True strength is not in the fire that destroys, but in the. Would it feel like to finally close that door, gently but firmly? Peace is not passive. It is a daily choice, a discipline, a quiet courage that says, this space is mine, and I will honor it. You don't have to let in every emotion, every opinion, every demand. You are allowed to choose what nourishes and what harms. Your inner world is a temple. Don't treat it like a hallway. Stand guard with compassion, be soft but strong, and let only what serves your healing pass through. Because once you protect your peace, your soul remembers how to rest again. 9. Boundaries are not barriers. Somewhere deep inside, many of us carry the belief that setting boundaries means we're being selfish, that saying no makes us cold, that protecting our energy is rejection. But Buddhist wisdom offers a new perspective. Boundaries are love-wearing armor. They are not walls of separation, but vessels of safety. Like water held safely by a cup, love without boundaries spills and disappears. With boundaries, it's held, contained, and sacred. You've likely felt the pull before, to say yes when you meant no, to smile while shrinking inside, to carry others' emotional weight long after your back began to ache. And perhaps you told yourself it was compassion. But true compassion cannot exist without clarity, because without boundaries, even the purest love turns to exhaustion. Ask yourself now, where in life do you need clearer boundaries? Is it with the people who always ask more than they give? Is it in your work, where expectations stretch endlessly into your peace? Is it within your own mind, where guilt whispers every time you choose yourself? Buddhist practice invites us into awareness, and with awareness comes choice. You do not have to be a container for everyone's pain. You do not need to be endlessly open to prove you care. Care guided by wisdom knows when to close the door, when to step back, when to say, this is enough. Try this mindfulness practice. Say aloud, I choose what enters. Feel the power in those words. Let them echo through your body. This is not resistance, it's remembrance. You are not responsible for holding what drains you, you are responsible for honoring your sacred space. What fears arise when you try to set boundaries? Is it fear of being unloved, fear of guilt, fear of losing connection? These fears are real, but they're not final. They are echoes of old stories, and every time you honor your space, you begin to rewrite them. Boundaries are not rejection, they are refinement. They show others how to love you well. They teach you how to love yourself first. And when built with intention, they don't create distance, they create depth, because what is shared within healthy boundaries is chosen, not coerced. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to choose presence over pressure. You are allowed to be kind and firm, open and discerning. Remember, even the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree and turned away from distraction, not out of hatred, but out of wisdom, to stay aligned, to awaken. Let your boundaries do the same. The heart is not meant to be a highway, it is a home. Keep it guarded, not locked, soft, not spilled. And you will no longer absorb pain, you'll transform it into clarity. 10. Detach, don't disconnect. There is a quiet strength in those who can remain open without losing themselves. In a world that equates caring with clinging and connection with control, Buddhist wisdom gently redefines the path. Detach, don't disconnect. It's not about building walls. It's about staying rooted while letting life pass through. Detachment is presence without possession. You can love deeply, support fully, and still not carry what was never yours to hold. Most people fear detachment because they mistake it for distance. They believe it means not feeling, not caring, or giving up. But true detachment is the opposite. It's staying fully present without being swept away. It's like a tree, deeply rooted in the earth, yet unmoved by the passing wind. Storms come, seasons change, but it remains still, not cold but clear. Ask yourself, who or what do you cling to emotionally? Is it a relationship where your peace depends on their approval? A career where your worth is tied to performance? Or a past that continues to shape your present long after it's gone? Clinging is subtle. It often wears the mask of love, ambition, or loyalty. But beneath it, there's always fear. Fear of loss, fear of emptiness, fear of being forgotten. Buddhism teaches that freedom begins the moment we realize that pain doesn't come from love itself. It comes from attachment to outcomes. Love says, I see you. Attachment says, you belong to me. Support says, I'm here for you. Clinging says, don't leave me. Inhale now and silently say, connection. Exhale and say, attachment. That's your practice. Stay close without holding tight. So what would calm detachment feel like for you? Imagine offering love like a flowing river, not forced, not withheld, just moving naturally from your center. Imagine letting people be who they are without bending yourself to manage their emotions. Imagine being fully alive in this moment without being held hostage by the past or the future. Detachment is not disconnection, it's the art of choosing peace over possession. It allows you to walk through emotional storms and still see the sky. It lets you engage deeply while protecting your energy. It brings the clarity that says, I can care without collapsing. You do not have to stop feeling, you only have to stop fusing. Let what comes come. Let what goes go. Be rooted, not rigid, present, not possessed. True freedom is not in cutting ties, it's in releasing the grip. When you detach with love, you stop absorbing pain and start radiating peace. So open your heart, but hold your center. Be like the tree, steady, giving, and free. 11.
Bernard smiled.
Stillness
It's
heals
real,
what force
and
cannot.
it's forever.
We've been taught
Dear
to fix
viewers,
everything.
what
Heal
lessons
it,
did you
analyze
take away
it,
from this
name it,
dramatic
solve
tale?
it.
We'd
But not
love
all
to hear
pain
your
is a
thoughts
puzzle
in the
to be
comments
solved.
below.
Some
If you
wounds don't
enjoyed
need
the story,
noise,
give us
they
a
need
thumbs
stillness.
up, share it with
Still
friends,
waters reveal
and
the
hit that
sky.
subscribe button.
When we stop stirring the
Don't
muddy
forget to
river of
turn
our
on
minds,
notifications
clarity
so you
rises
never
on
miss
its own.
out on our latest
Buddhist
update.
wisdom whispers
Thanks
the truth
for
modern
watching,
life
and
forgets.
stay blessed.
Stillness heals what force cannot. There's a quiet story in every one of us. That heartbreak you try to rewrite, that failure you dissect again and again, that emotion you keep digging through as if understanding it will finally erase it. But some things dissolve not when we fight them, but when we stop fighting. Sit with your pain in silence. Watch it shift. Not with judgment, not with urgency, just presence. Like a mountain watching the storm pass, unchanged, unmoved. Pain is like mud in a river. The more you churn it, the cloudier it becomes. But if you let it be, if you simply hold space without panic, without grasping, it settles. You begin to see through it. You realize the emotion isn't you, it's passing, temporary, a visitor, not a verdict. Ask yourself, what emotions do you keep trying to fix? Is it guilt you inherited, grief that keeps showing up, anger that rises without permission? We wear ourselves out with the belief that we must solve everything to be free. But some things resolve on their own, not through effort, but through acceptance, through rest, through the sacred power of stillness. Stillness is not passivity, it's presence. It doesn't mean you give up, it means you stop resisting. You observe, and in that observation, healing begins. Just like wounds close naturally when not picked, the emotional body also knows how to mend when we stop interfering. Imagine a moment where you didn't try to change the feeling. You just watched it, like watching clouds drift or wind move trees. No fixing, no labeling, just being. Imagine what your heart would feel like without the pressure to perform healing. Just space, just breathe, just now. Buddhist monks don't rush suffering. They sit with it, not to control it, but to understand its nature. And in that stillness, the pain either transforms or fades. But it's not forced, it's witnessed. You don't need one more strategy, you need space. You don't need to win against your emotions, you need to allow them to soften. Some of the deepest healing happens in silence, not because you did more, but because you finally stopped doing. So today, be still. Let the mud settle. Let the sky return. And watch your soul remember what peace feels like, not because you fought for it, but because you paused long enough to receive it. Bonus lesson: return to the observer within. There's a part of you that has never been hurt, never been broken, never been afraid. It watches quietly. It feels everything, yet remains untouched. While your mind wrestles with fear and your heart aches with old wounds, this part of you simply observes. It is the sky, vast, open, untouched by the storm. This is the observer within. The watcher is never wounded. And when you return to that place, emotional pain loses its grip. Not because the pain disappears, but because you remember you are not it. You've been so entangled in your stories, haven't you? The heartbreak that defined you, the guilt you can't shake, the chaos you absorbed from others. You've worn them like second skin, forgetting that beneath it all, there is something deeper, more permanent. Who is it that watches your sadness rise and fall? Who is it that hears the anxious thoughts but doesn't speak them? That's you. The real you. Not the identity shaped by wounds, but the presence behind them. Like the sky that holds the storm without becoming it. Buddhism teaches us to sit not just with the pain, but with the one who is aware of the pain. That shift changes everything. When you repeat, "I am the awareness, not the wound," something softens. You no longer cling to the emotion or try to escape it. You simply witness. You allow. And in that gentle allowing, suffering loses its sharpness. You don't drown in the waves, you become the ocean. Ask yourself honestly, when did you last sit with your true self? Not the self that performs for the world, not the self chasing validation or fearing rejection, but the quiet awareness that has always been there watching. That part of you doesn't react, doesn't absorb. It understands, it feels, but it doesn't fall. And when you live from that space, peace is no longer something you chase, it's something you are. Pain may visit, but it doesn't stay. It passes through like clouds, like thunder, like wind. The observer within is your home, your return point, your refuge. And every time life overwhelms you, every time you start absorbing pain that isn't yours, pause. Breathe. Come back. Come back to the one who watches. I am the awareness, not the wound. You are not here to carry every storm. You are here to remember that you are the calm before it, the presence beneath it, the sky beyond it. So return home. Not to fix, not to fight, but to remember who you truly are. You've always been whole. Now, finally, be still enough to feel it. Quick summary of the lessons. You were never meant to hold it all. Most of the emotional weight you carry may not belong to you. Learning to recognize borrowed pain is the first step toward inner peace. Pain is energy, not identity. Emotional pain is something that moves through you, it's not who you are. Separation from the experience creates freedom from it. Silence is your shield. Silence isn't weakness, it's protection. Through stillness, you create a space where emotional chaos can't intrude. Empathy is a gift, not a cage. Feeling deeply is powerful, but not if it traps you in other people's suffering. Compassion can exist without emotional entanglement. Let go of the fire, not the flame. Release the emotional intensity that burns without dimming your inner light. You can stay passionate without being consumed. Don't mirror, witness. You are not obligated to reflect the emotions of others. Observing pain without absorbing it is a form of emotional mastery. You can feel without falling. Sensitivity doesn't have to lead to suffering. You can allow emotions without being overpowered by them. Protect your peace like a temple. Peace must be guarded with awareness and boundaries. Not everything deserves access to your inner calm. Boundaries are not barriers. True boundaries are acts of love for yourself and others. They don't separate, they protect and honor space. Detach, don't disconnect. Detachment is staying present without becoming lost in others' emotional realities. It's a loving form of balance. Stillness heals what force cannot. You don't need to fix every feeling. Sometimes quiet presence is the greatest healing force. Return to the observer within. You are not your emotions, you are the awareness beneath them. Anchoring in that self brings lasting peace. There's a kind of peace the world can't give you and can never take from you. You may have come here thinking you need to become stronger to stop absorbing pain, but the truth is, you needed to become clearer, calmer, and more connected to your true self, the observer within. The Buddha said, "The root of suffering is attachment." And often we are not just attached to people, we're attached to their pain, their chaos, their expectations. Letting go doesn't mean not caring. It means caring without losing yourself in the process. So today, let this be the beginning of a new kind of strength, the kind that chooses stillness over reaction, clarity over chaos, and presence over pain. The next time emotional energy tries to pull you under, breathe, return to awareness, and remember, you are the sky, not the storm. What pain are you ready to stop absorbing, starting today? Don't forget to subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life. If this video brought you peace, give it a like and share it with someone who needs this calm. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your reflection in the comments below.